Hey everybody at home on Old Guy Hi-Fi channel. Hope everyone's doing well today. Today is going to be a different kind of a review. It's a product that I don't normally do, but it really caught my fancy. So anyway, sit back, relax, maybe it'll catch your fancy, and we'll get going on this review. Well, before we get started, big shout out to Apos Audio for sending me the Rock Lobster IEMs for review. They did send me this product, but all of my conclusions and my opinions are my own. So again, thanks to Apos Audio. So what is this product that caught my fancy? Well, it's an interesting product. It is the Apos Audio Rock Lobster IEMs. Now, this is not something I would normally do. They're $60 on sale right now. It does include both single-ended and balanced cables and a clamshell leather carry case. I'll put a picture of it here. I don't normally do stuff like this, and Apos sent it to me, said, just give it a listen, and I did, and you know what? It's really good. So it does have this is the fascinating thing. It uses a 10 millimeter liquid crystal polymer dynamic driver. We're going to talk about that. I think that's an interesting technology. It is 32 ohms impedance. It is 105 dB sensitive. It does use the 2-pin detachable cables. It has a frequency response of 20 to 20,000, and it comes with a wide variety of silicone, assorted sizes of silicone ear tips. Now, there is a bit of a story behind the development of this, and I think it's kind of fascinating. Well, as I mentioned, there's a bit of a story behind the development of this product. This is what is known as an Apos X community product. Now, it is developed as basically a grassroots product development program that takes designers, engineers, manufacturers, and Apos Audio customers, and they share ideas and they collaborate and they do all kinds of different things, and they come up with some really unique products. And the Rock Lobster IEMs is one of those. So was the Audio Technica Apos Audio X Audio Technica headphones. I don't remember the model number. I'll put it down here, that I reviewed recently. That's one of those community products. Now, there is a definite mission for the Rock Lobster IEMs. They are rock-inspired IEMs, which means they are really intended for people who like rock and roll. So they're inspired by very bold, genre-defining, lead singers and frontmen for bands like Freddie Mercury or Karen O or Jimi Hendrix for sure. And the IEMs were built to handle a full range of rock and roll music, from really thunderous drums and good bass to really delicate vocals and acoustic guitars and things like that. It's really designed to be a very reliable, everyday in-ear monitor. You can use with anything, your phone, a digital audio player, desktop solution, laptop. I used it with the Apos Audio Gremlin headphone. I also used it with the FIO Q13 little, you attach it to your phone or your device, little headphone amp DAC. Really, really nice. It worked exceptionally well. I also used it with the Shanling EC0 little CD player. So while many rock-tuned in-ear monitors lean heavy into bass, and they can be overly bass heavy, really, and kind of boom sizzle, a lot of bass, a lot of treble, the Rock Lobsters focused on being more balanced, but also having a better detail through the mid-range, and they really sound nice, because that's obviously where vocals, guitars, and all of the kind of the texture of the voice and everything else lives, is in that mid-range. So the sound is very balanced. You have clear mids, you have good bass response, and they do play low. I did try them out on that. And the highs are really nice. They're well detailed, but they never got fatiguing. They were never like sharp or bitey. Really, really nice. So it has a low 32 ohm impedance, which makes it easy to drive from just about anything. And I think that's really nice. You can pair these with really good high-end gear and get really good sound out of them. I think it's really nice. And again, the other nice thing too is that the silicone ear tips are all silicone. They're not going to degenerate and get crusty and all the other stuff. I think it's very fascinating. They really put a lot of thought into the development of this product. So what I want to do is I want to tell you a little bit about liquid crystal polymer dynamic drivers. So it's remarkable to think of all the technology that goes into the little tiny things. They got speakers, electronics, there's all kinds of stuff going on in here, and I really think it's fascinating. And I think one of the fascinating things is the liquid crystal polymer dynamic driver. And it's basically what that refers to as a diaphragm material that's used in dynamic drivers, and that's the part that actually moves the air to create the sound. So liquid crystal polymer is a high-performance plastic that has both liquid and crystalline properties. So when formed into very thin films for the diaphragms of this, it offers very high stiffness. It's low mass, so it can respond really quickly. It has excellent internal damping, so it's not going to sound bloated. It's not going to sound flabby. It's not going to get out of control, and it has good thermal stability. So it really is nice for this. So why would you want to use a liquid crystal polymer in an IEM? Well, the material itself is great at reducing distortion due to better control of unwanted resonances. It improves clarity, especially in the mids and highs. And again, that was part of the mission in the development of these particular IEMs. It maintains detail at high volume. So for those of you who want to headbang, you can crank them up, and these stay clean and they don't get distorted. I don't normally listen at super loud volume levels, but I did give them a test, and man, I'm telling you, I had to turn it down. They were playing loud and clean and just excellent, and the bass stayed really good and tight. It never got overblown. It never got crazy. I mean, it was really nice. So the response was really fast, really tight, no matter what the volume level is. So again, the summary of the sound characteristics of liquid crystal polymer dynamic drivers are clean, detailed mids and highs, tight, controlled bass, though honestly not boosted, not overblown, not bass heavy like some IEMs can be. It's much more balanced, much more, and I hate to use the term, but it's kind of audiophile friendly, even though they're marketed as kind of kitschy with the Rock Lobster. It's just, I think, you know, the liquid crystal polymer gives this a much better sound than most of the other kind of cheaper plastic or metal diaphragms that some IEMs use. They're really a fascinating product. So I did use some music for this review. We're going to talk about that, and then I'll summarize my thoughts, and then we'll finalize everything and get out of here. All the music I used in this review came from Apos Audio's own playlist called Rock Lobster July 2025 playlist. There will be a link to the Qobuz and Tidal versions of that playlist in the video description. Well, the first track I used was Ramble On from Led Zeppelin off their 1969 Led Zeppelin 2 album. This is a really interesting song, a really interesting album. It's a very groundbreaking album. Led Zeppelin has this ability to blend sort of kind of traditional English folk music, acoustic music, and then heavy rock and roll. Really, really good. It's just I think they have a really great talent as writers and performers to merge those different kinds of genres of music and make it into obviously what are legendary standout recordings. So this song opens with kind of a very mellow, almost pastoral kind of acoustic section before shifting into a very heavier, much more blues-driven groove. It really showcases Jimmy Page's guitar virtuosity. John Paul Jones' bass line through this is amazing. Bonham's drums are really good. It really drives the song forward once it starts to pick up speed. And then, of course, Robert Plant's legendary lyrics. The song kind of draws from fantasy themes, noticeably referencing Lord of the Rings, which was unusual at the time, but helped expand kind of the lyrical boundaries of rock and roll. So its impact, this had a big impact on song. Genre fusion, Ramble On really solidified Led Zeppelin's reputation for blending folk music, blues, hard rock, and obviously that had a big influence on I don't know how many bands moving forward in the future, just tons of them. The production was very innovative. Page's layered guitar tones. They used some studio effects to kind of push the boundaries of what rock recordings could sound like and give us, the listener, kind of new boundaries or a new playground to listen in. And then the lyrical expansion, Plant's fantasy-inspired lyrics opened the door for more literary and kind of imaginative songwriting in rock, paving the way for prog rock bands like Rush or Iron Maiden. Ramble On is really a key example of Led Zeppelin's innovation and remains a real touchstone in rock history for its really excellent musical craftsmanship and storytelling. It's a wonderful track. I remember around the time this song came out, everybody thought the Rolling Stones were devil worshippers. The song is Paint It Black, and it's off their 1966 album, Aftermath. Now, it's a real landmark track in that it was one of the first, probably the first, real rock song to use Eastern musical influences, especially Brian Jones' playing of the sitar. So the song itself features very driving rhythm, kind of dark, moody lyrics, and a very hypnotic melody that stood out sharply from other pop and rock songs of the time. Lyrically, it explores themes of grief, loss, psychological unrest, unusual subject matter for 1960s bubblegummy rock and Beach Boys kind of stuff. The somber tone marked a shift toward more introspective and experimental songwriting in mainstream music. So the impact this had on the rock scene was the introduction of Eastern music, Eastern instruments to Western rock. The use of the sitar. This is one of the earliest rock songs to ever do that, and really help open the door to psychedelic rock, influencing bands like the Beatles, the Byrds, obviously Led Zeppelin at some point. It pioneered much darker themes in rock. Paint It Black helped move rock forward, beyond the kind of bubblegummy, sappy, syrupy love songs that were popular at the time, teenage angst and unrequited love and all of that other stuff. This paved the way for really more complex emotional and psychological expressions in rock lyrics. And it really shaped the future of psychedelic rock and goth rock. And, it's a combination of minor key melodies, non-Western instrumentation, kind of bleak lyrical tone, and influenced the development of a lot of future genres of music. Paint It Black is a bold, genre-pushing track that expanded the musical and emotional range of rock at a critical moment in its evolution. It was extraordinarily impactful. So I can't have a product called Rock Lobster without using the song Rock Lobster by the B-52s. It was released in 1978 as a single and later came out on their self-titled album, the B-52s. It's a really quirky, surreal, new wave track that became an underground hit and later kind of a mainstream cult classic, driven by surf-inspired guitar riffs, pulsing rhythm, and really absurd lyrics about underwater parties and sea creatures. The song is unmistakably weird and very proud of its oddness. I think that's interesting. The playful vocals, call and response kind of structure, a mix of spoken word, yelps, animal sounds. It just gave it a real offbeat energy that really defied conventions of rock and roll at the time. So its impact on rock music was it kind of helped define new wave music. It was a key track in the emerging new wave scene, kind of bridging punk's, kind of do-it-yourself spirit with more danceable, kind of eccentric aesthetic. It challenged rock norms by embracing humor, kitsch, a lot of camp. Boy, was it campy. And I actually got to see the B-52s live. It broke from rock's increasingly serious tone in the late 70s. We were coming out of that smooth rock era, lots of love songs, England John and Danford Coley and all that kind of stuff. And this really kind of was a slap in the face. It was very artful and very ridiculous. I mean, even John Lennon cited Rock Lobster as being one of the reasons he felt inspired to return to music after he took that long break when he lived in New York. It's a really bold, very bizarre, very influential anthem that helped open the doors for a much wider variety of sounds and personalities in rock music. I mean, you couldn't get any weirder than Fred Schneider or Kate Pearson. They were wonderful. And again, I got to see them live, but much later in their careers. And unfortunately, their voices had gone away. But anyway, Rock Lobster is a ton of fun, and it inspired these IEMs. So let me tell you how I tested it real quick. I'll summarize my thoughts, and then I'll be done with you. Well, IEMs are not normally something I would consider reviewing, but APOS sent them to me and said, give them a shot. And I did, and I was impressed with their sound quality. So to test them, I wanted to put them through the ringer a bit, try and trip them up. And I'll be honest with you, I couldn't. So I tried them with the APOS Audio Gremlin. That was an automatic, absolutely an automatic combination. Those tubes, I could hear those tubes beautifully. I also used it with the X Duo TA20 Plus, and again, those tubes came through just gloriously. For solid state stuff, I did use the FIO K17. That's a really powerful, very high-end headphone amp. I did, for a brief period of time, run them on the Lave Audio HP2A. Sounded great. I also used, and this is one of my favorite pieces lately, the Shanling EC0T CD player DAC transport. That thing, that worked really, really well. But when I didn't want to have a lot of clutter and I just wanted to have my phone and the earbuds, I used the FIO K13 or Q13 little headphone amp DAC. Worked exceptionally well. So how did they sound? Well, sonically, I was very surprised. I didn't have real high expectations. I've tried some other IEMs in the past and they were okay. These were really, really nice. They had great sound. And one of the things that I have an issue with is apparently I have the largest ear canals in the world, and most tips don't make a good seal. Well, the silicone tips that come with the Rock Lobster sealed very nicely. They were comfortable. I could wear them for a long period of time. As a matter of fact, one time I was sitting out on the deck and I was just listening. I wasn't really paying attention to anything, and about an hour and a half almost went by before I thought, oh yeah, I've been listening to this for an hour and a half. This is amazing. They're comfortable. Bass is good. They do a really good job with bass. I think that liquid crystal polymer dynamic driver does a really good job with bass without it being overblown or bloated. It's clean and it's very tight, and they dig deep, because some of that ambient electronic stuff I listen to goes way low, and I never felt like I was missing anything. The mid-range was clean and clear and very well defined. Now, these will pick up whatever the sonic characteristic of the headphone amp you've got them plugged into. So on the Gremlin and the X Duo piece, the tubes came through just with all that warmth and lushness that you would hope for, beautifully reproduced on these. With the K17, the EC0T, and the Q13 from FIO, those are solid state, and it was a little cleaner, a little crisper, but it never got strident. The highs were never annoying or strident or fatiguing. And really, it was a very full range, very nice, very clean, very well detailed, but without being cold or clinical sounding. They're really enjoyable. And again, for me, this is not something normally that I would listen to, but I've been listening to them a lot. So anyway, I think they perform quite well. They're well worth investigating. At $60, I think they're an absolute steal. I think they'll compete against more expensive IEMs easily. And again, they were comfortable. They come with both cables, single-ended and balanced, come with a little clamshell leather carry case. It's a really nice product. Well, before we wrap up, big shout out to Apos Audio. Thank you guys for sending these to me. They did send me the product, but all of my opinions and conclusions and everything are my own. So again, big shout out to Apos Audio. And in the spirit of full disclosure, there will be a purchase link to the Apos, an affiliate purchase link in the video description and in the pinned comment. Well, I hope you enjoyed that review. This was an interesting product and it kind of surprised me. I was very impressed with it. So anyway, hopefully you were impressed with the video. What a bad segue. I'm so sorry. Hopefully you'd be willing to give me a like and your subscription. That would help a great deal. I'd like to take a moment and thank my channel members, my subscribers, and my viewers. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I appreciate it. As I mentioned, there will be an Apos Audio affiliate link for that product in the pinned comment and in the video description. There will also be a channel membership link in the pinned comment and in the video description. There will also be a Tidal and Qobuz link to the Rock Lobster July 2025 playlist that Apos Audio put together. That will be in the video description. There's some other affiliate links in the video description. You understand how that works. Please comment. Let me know your thoughts. Where are you at with IEMs? I was not a real convert. These are kind of changing my mind a bit. They were comfortable and I could wear them for a long period of time, which was always an issue for me in the past, which is why I never liked earbuds and those kinds of things. But anyway, comment. Let me know your thoughts on it. I've covered all of the points I need to cover on this particular video. So please like, please subscribe, please comment, let me know your thoughts. Follow me on Instagram if you want to. My name is Ed Homewood. This is the Old Guy Hi-Fi channel. And guess what? It is now time for you to go put on some really beautiful music that you love. Sit back, relax, and just enjoy the balance of your day. Thank you so much for your time. I'm grateful for it. I really hope you have a wonderful day.